Thalidomide was a medication that was invented in 1951, and it started being marketed to people to treat anxiety and sleeping disorders and morning sickness. It started being marketed in 1957, first in West Germany. And by 1961, it was withdrawn from the market. And in those 4 years, well, all kinds of misery ensued. Thalidomide babies were babies of mothers who had taken thalidomide during the pregnancy. And what happened was that those thalidomide babies, well, they were born with serious heart defects, and most spectacularly of all, they were born without arms or limbs. It was horrifying. Something like 10,000 babies were born with these birth defects. And in a way, you can almost say that 40% of them were lucky because that 40% died on birth. The other 60% lived on, and in horrifying circumstances. All kinds of medical problems throughout their brief lives, because almost none of them made it up to adulthood. They all died from heart problems, urinary tract problems, and of course, they were completely disabled. Because their little arms and their little legs were just little stumps. That's all. Now, it should be emphasized that thalidomide is actually a very beneficial drug in many respects. It's used to treat leprosy. Yeah. It's also used to help people with HIV. See? The medicine is not like poison. It's just very, very bad for pregnant women. And not even for all pregnant women. Or let me phrase that. It's not even bad for a woman at every stage of her pregnancy. Just certain weeks, certain key weeks, that if she takes thalidomide, her baby will be born seriously deformed. And I have to emphasize this. You see, a medicine can be very beneficial to some people and very detrimental to other people. And what you have to do is you have to test it. And you have to test it and you have to watch it, not for a month or two or maybe a year. No. For years, for decades, to ensure that it's not a poison. Now, you see, new medicines have helped us. Medicines are fantastic. I'm all in favor of like vaccines for polio and rubella and the mumps and whatnot. That, I think, is just, all those vaccines are fantastic. For smallpox, for instance, smallpox destroyed the Native American population in the North, Central, and South American continents. Destroyed it. I mean, eviscerated something like 90% of the Native American population. Nobody's really sure, but it just burned through the whole population, the indigenous population in the Americas. That's why the European settlers arrived to a fundamentally empty continent. You know, the early Europeans had brought smallpox and some other diseases that the native populations had no immunity against. And it just decimated them. And it wasn't the fault of the Europeans. They didn't know this. In the 16th century, in the 15th century, they had no fucking clue about how smallpox was transmitted. I mean, if they'd known how it was transmitted, they would have tried to cure themselves, because smallpox, of course, was a serious disease in Europe and in Asia, right? In the Americas, they'd never seen it before. It wiped out the whole population. The smallpox vaccine saved millions, one could argue billions of people's lives. The smallpox vaccine is a good thing. Medicine, Western medicine, scientifically developed medicine, is a good thing, so long as it's tested. Suppose you have a headache, and I just put out my hand with a pill in it, and I say, take this pill, you'll feel better. Would you do it? I mean, I could be giving you an aspirin, and sure, you take the aspirin, you'll feel better. But I could be giving you, I don't know, cocaine or heroin or just some poison, cyanide. Could you tell the difference between cyanide and an aspirin? I certainly wouldn't. You know, they say that cyanide comes in a little black capsule, but I actually don't know. I mean, I'm assuming this is a little white powder, right? And a little compressed tablet of white powder. It could be cyanide, it could be aspirin, it could be whatever the fuck, and I would know, right? And neither would you, neither would anybody. We need to know what we're taking. We need to know the effects of what we're taking. I mean, like in my case, if I had a headache and you offered me an aspirin, I'd say, no, thank you. Do you know why? Because I'm allergic to aspirin. Yeah, I break out in splotches and shit. And sometimes I feel like my throat constricts a little bit as if I can't breathe. Yeah, I take one fucking aspirin, and those are the effects I get. Didn't happen when I was younger. It developed as I grew older. That's neither here nor there, but the point is that, see, different medicines are good for different people. And for some people, some medicine is great, and for other people, it's a disaster. You have to test it. You have to try it out. It's a process that takes a lot of time. I don't know about you, but I think it's kind of insane that we are taking willy-nilly some experimental medication that we have no idea what the long-term effects of it are going to be. I mean, we really don't. I mean, this stuff, this novel technology that is being used, well, this novel technology, it's, like I said, novel. It's never been used before. It's not like a traditional vaccine. It's just some, a lot of people basically explain it as being similar to gene therapy. It's ultimately changing the very nature of who you are. And nobody really knows the effects of it. Not even the creator of this shit knows its long-term effect. This could be exceptionally dangerous. And I'm not saying that the people who manufacture this have nefarious objectives or some shit like that. No. I mean, like the people who invented thalidomide, for instance, I'm sure that they had the purest of intentions. I mean, they wanted to make some drug that would help people and make some money on the side. Sure, I mean, everybody wants to make some money off of their work. That's not the problem. The problem is, of course, that this medicine was made with the best of intentions by all the people involved, and yet it had horrifying consequences. And these horrifying consequences came to light almost immediately. Or, let me rephrase it, they came to light by the time the first few women started bearing these children, these seriously deformed children, these fatally deformed children in many respects. I mean, there's nothing more horrifying than to watch a newborn child die, which is what happened with thalidomide babies. And the people who made thalidomide, the people who prescribed thalidomide, they didn't even dream of such a thing happening. They had the best of intentions. It has nothing to do with the intentions of the people who made it. And it has everything to do with the fact that caution, care, being conservative about what you're doing, what medicines you're taking, that was not applied. Caution was thrown to the wind. I never take any medicine that has not been thoroughly tested. Tested by other people and tested on me. Because like I explained, on the aspirin front, my body changed. When I was a boy, I could take aspirin no problem. As I got into my late teenage years, early 20s, all of a sudden, I found I had this intolerance to aspirin. So I don't take aspirin anymore, right? Because I know what's going to happen to me. But I know it doesn't happen to other people. And yet there are other medicines that I know are very dangerous for me because they're not for me. They're for other people with other maladies. And there are some medicines that are simply, for all intents and purposes, poison. Like, for instance, chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is essentially poison that people are putting into their bodies in order to kill off the cancer. I'm a perfectly healthy man. Would I take a chemotherapy? No, that'd be fucking crazy, I mean, you have to know what you're doing. You have to see the cost-benefit of what you're taking. You have to look at the odds of dying from a malady. If I catch some malady, well, whatsoever the malady might be, what are the odds that I'm going to die of it? I mean, the odds, the statistical odds, that number, it can be expressed as a percentage. Say, for instance, of the people who catch this disease, say 1% die of it. Let's just, for the sake of argument. 1% of those people who catch it die. Those who are 53 years old, like you, CRP, 1% of them are going to die. But if you take this medicine to prevent against dying from this disease, well, there's actually a 3% that you'll die. Because the cure is so dangerous that it might kill you. There's a 3% chance that if you take the disease, it'll kill you, but only a 1% chance that if you catch the disease will kill you. So what would be my choice? Well, quite obviously, I wouldn't take the medicine. No, it's 3 times more likely to kill me than the fucking disease it's supposed to cure. See what I'm saying? Yeah. That is a simple and obvious cost-benefit analysis. I mean, would I take chemotherapy? Fuck no, because I'm not sick. if I did have cancer, some sort of terminal cancer, would I take chemotherapy? Fuck yeah, I might survive. You see, you have to make these estimations, these calculations. This is the logical thing to do. But it just seems crazy to me that nowadays, that kind of rational, empiric thinking, that kind of basic statistical analysis of a situation is being considered to be some sort of like a conspiracy theory. It's like a moral evil to ask whether something is reasonable to take or not. I think about thalidomide babies often. I'm not going to show any pictures in this video of it, of course not, because it's fucking horrifying. You just Google those images, and they'll scare the shit out of you. And they'll horrify you, because they are horrifying. These little babies, you know, they look fine except for their arms, or their legs, or their scrotums. Horrifyingly deformed in a way that it's just burned into your mind, into your memory forever. I've seen some of those pictures. And everybody had the best of intentions, but it took them 4 fucking years to pull that medication off the shelves. 4 years. And this wasn't like something that everybody took, just a few people here and there. I mean, relative to the total population. It had horrifying consequences. Because people weren't cautious. People weren't careful. People didn't ask some simple, commonsensical questions. Is this safe?